Sunday, March 1st. Let's draw 3 cards for the energies in play today. First card, whoops, the Fool, and he is reversed. And this is the Rider-Waite deck. I'm hearing an echo of that Ten of Swords we had as the first card yesterday, in that something wants to come through you, and yet there's an inhibition happening. There's something holding you back. Normally the Fool in his upright position is quite happy to step into a new situation without a care in the world, and that makes him open to new experience. That makes him unafraid in a very earnest and genuine kind of a way. But because he's reversed here, something is holding back. That movement is inhibited, and this is a time not to inhibit that action. It feels to me like there's something that wants to come through you and be created, and there's maybe a fear of exposure here, or being personally vulnerable to the world, to the daggers of other people's opinions. So the Fool is kind of hesitant to take that first step off the cliff, but this is exactly the time for action. Remember that when we keep ourselves inhibited, we may stay safe, but we're also not giving ourselves into availability for joy or adventure or whatever exciting new thing is about to unfold for us. And this Fool he's well dressed, he's got all of this colorful energy in him, so much joy available, so much adventure available here. If you are holding back, if you feel that that's the truth for you today, know that that is preventing you from that joyful experience, from those higher vibrations. And God knows the world needs more of that right now. So I think this is not the time to hold back. This is exactly the time to step forward and embark on what's new, because that's what we're here for. That's what life is about, is allowing this creative, adventurous energy to experience itself through us. So let's see what the second card tells us in terms of what may be trying to come through here. The second card is, oh, look at that. It's our Ten of Swords from yesterday in the other deck. So this is the Rider-Waite today. Yesterday we had Ten of Swords in the Morgan Greer deck. So I think that confirms what I was just saying. In the Rider-Waite deck, the Ten of Swords is a little less bloody and a little less stormy than it is in the Morgan Greer deck. So this is much more of a mental orientation here. I think these swords are imaginary. I think there's something going on in the mind that imagines attack where there is none forthcoming. And because we don't have that howling snowstorm in the background in this Rider-Waite card, I suspect that this is less about Dark Night of the Soul energy and more about just outthinking yourself into paralysis. Again, confirming what we were saying yesterday. Each one of these swords we can think of as representing a particular inhibition that's suppressing some part of ourselves. You'll notice that they're lined up along the spine, kind of like tracing the chakras, the energetic chakras up the spinal column, the Sushumna. We are just in stasis. We're stuck inside our bodies and not knowing where to go. So that circular thinking, we need to attend to that. We need to break that cycle. Notice that the water is calm in this card, so it's not like there's a storm imminent or on the horizon. It looks to me like dawn is just breaking. That stasis from yesterday that we were talking about is on the cusp of a breakthrough. The sun is about to come up. I also get the sense that this paralysis is about defense, that these swords that are pinning you in place are like a preemptive defense against some kind of attack, which, like I said, is not on the horizon. Sort of a catastrophizing energy, like, well, if I do this, then all these bad things could happen, and that's why I'm standing still. But you'll notice that the more you stand still, the more that energy kind of backs up, and then it feels like it wants to come out in an unruly manner. So we need to use these swords in a much more deliberate way. It's okay to take precautions against certain kinds of reckless movements, but not to the point that you inhibit the creation. Hopefully that makes sense. Let's see what card number 3 has to tell us. Third card today is the Nine of Wands. I think we saw that one yesterday as well. Now, when cards jump decks like that and repeat themselves, there's a very strong, consistent psychological message coming through. So yesterday we had these same 2 cards, you'll remember, in exactly the same sequence, if I'm not mistaken, the Ten of Swords followed by the Nine of Wands. So this is pointing us toward practicality. And I'll repeat what I said yesterday about this weariness with tending boundaries, this weariness with having to inhibit yourself, with having to guard against offense. You know, maybe there's something you need to say and there's somebody out there that you're worried about offending. That doesn't play anymore. So much of what society is going through right now in terms of its own kind of mass awakening has to do with this inhibiting ourselves in order to conform to an expectation that's outside of ourselves somewhere, whether that's speech or there's art or creation or the way we conduct ourselves in everyday life. the rules are proving themselves to be not just artificial, but serving something other than our own well-being. It feels like these are the wands that are kind of surrounding us, but we'll notice that these wands contain a lot of power. They contain that stored fire. They can ignite and be used to generate all kinds of fantastic things. That's the beauty of our human incarnation, is this energy is ours to manipulate in whatever way gives us great joy and delight. The swords represent the mental inhibitions, the precognition of judgment expected, the kinds of arguments we make to ourselves to say, well, yeah, I could do that, but why not just stay safe and stay comfortable? And the 9 says you're being hemmed in by this boundary tending, this worry over the intrusion of other people's opinions or other structures that want to co-opt what it is you want to make in the world. And the expression on this figure's face in the 9 of Wands tells me that he's finally questioning that. He's finally looking at these wands and saying, wait a minute, I don't think that's what they're supposed to be used for. These contain this great power. And I have an excellent opportunity using my free will to create something new using that power. He's at the cusp of that. This 9 is it's a precipice card, just like the Fool, actually. I think he's about to make his decision. I think you're about to make your decision and decide what this energy can be used for in your own life that will give you joy as opposed to stasis. So to sum up today's spread, the Fool reversed tells us that a new impulse wants expression, but hesitation and self-consciousness perhaps are inhibiting that leap. There's a fear of exposure that right now is a little bit stronger than the call to move forward. Our 10 of Swords, same as yesterday, mental catastrophizing, overanalysis, analysis paralysis. And this thread is largely imagined. Nothing is coming for you, and your cycle of overthinking has run its course. 9 of Wands, again, boundary fatigue. So you're braced and guarded out of habit, but the fire that you're using for defense could be redirected into action and creation of something new and exciting. So that's it for today. Like, follow, and share for more. See you tomorrow.